From welfare to billionaire. How she survived abuse and 12 rejections to create a bestseller. True story. Some dreams don't die. They wait. Buried beneath rejection letters. Scattered across cafe tables. Whispered through tears in the darkest hours of night. This is the story of a woman who had everything stripped away. Her marriage, her security, her sense of self, and still refused to let go of the one thing no one else could see. But here's what they don't tell you about rock bottom. Sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what you're truly made of. And sometimes, the world has to tell you no 12 times before you learn that your yes is the only one that matters. December 1990. A delayed train from Manchester to London. A young woman named Joanne stares out the rain-streaked window, and suddenly a boy appears in her mind. Not just any boy, a wizard with a lightning bolt scar. Unaware of his destiny, she has no pen, no paper, just an idea burning so bright it feels like prophecy. But prophecy comes with a price. 3 weeks later, her mother dies. Anne Rowling, only 45, loses her decade-long battle with multiple sclerosis. Joanne is 25 years old and grief tears through her like a hurricane. The Harry Potter manuscript, those precious first chapters, become soaked with sorrow. She can barely write, can barely breathe. So she runs. Portugal, 1991. Teaching English in Porto, trying to outrun her pain. In a dimly lit bar, she meets Jorge Arantes, a television journalist with dark eyes and darker secrets. They bond over Jane Austen. They talk about literature, about dreams. He seems like an escape from the emptiness. She falls hard. But escape is an illusion. The relationship turns turbulent. A miscarriage shatters them both. Then comes pressure. Marriage now, immediately. October 1992, they exchange vows. By 1993, their daughter Jessica is born. 3 chapters of Harry Potter sit in Joanne's suitcase waiting. Always waiting. But Jorge doesn't want her to write. He searches her handbag, takes away her house key, controls the door, controls her movements. The manuscript, her lifeline, her escape, her hope. He holds it hostage. If you leave, he threatens, I'll destroy it. So she does something extraordinary. She sneaks pages to work, photocopies them in secret. 1 sheet at a time, she saves her dream while trying to survive a nightmare. November 17th, 1993. The night everything breaks. I want to leave, she finally says. The words are a match thrown into gasoline. His rage explodes. You can leave, but you're not getting Jessica. I'm keeping her. I'll hide her. She fights back and pays the price. The scene ends with her lying in the street, bruised and broken, but not defeated, never defeated. She goes to the police, returns the next day with officers, takes her daughter, leaves Portugal with 3 chapters in her suitcase and a baby in her arms, fleeing to Edinburgh, to her sister's home, to uncertainty. Rock bottom has the address, a mouse-infested flat in Edinburgh. Government assistance, $69 per week. A single mother. No job, no prospects. Depression so crushing, she contemplates ending it all. 7 years after graduating university, Joanne Rowling sees herself as the biggest failure she knows. Her ex-husband follows her to Scotland, shows up uninvited. She files a restraining order. He returns to Portugal, but the fear never leaves. Even in her poverty, she's looking over her shoulder, wondering if he'll come back. But here's the twist nobody expected. Failure was her liberation. With nothing left to lose, she has everything to gain. Rock bottom becomes solid foundation. The cafe becomes her office. Jessica sleeping in the pram while Joanne writes. No distractions, no pretense, no energy wasted on anything except finishing the only work that truly matters. 9 months of therapy pulls her back from the edge. She enrolls in a teaching certification course, survives on welfare, on the kindness of friends, on borrowed money. Her old school friend Sean Harris lends her $600, enough to move to a better flat in Leith, and she finishes it. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Complete. In 1995, the manuscript is ready. Hope fills her chest like helium. She sends it to literary agents, publishers. anyone who might see what she sees. The first rejection arrives, then the second, third, fourth. 12 times, the world tells her no. 12 times she's told her story isn't good enough, not marketable. Children don't read long books anymore. A single mother's fantasy about a wizard boy. Nobody wants this. With each rejection, doubt creeps deeper. Maybe they're right. Maybe she's been fooling herself. Maybe this dream she's sacrificed everything for is just that. A dream, destined to evaporate in the harsh light of reality. But then, a small publishing house in London, Bloomsbury, an editor brings the manuscript home. His 8-year-old daughter Alice picks it up, reads the first chapter, immediately demands the second, then the third. "Daddy," she says, "this is so much better than anything else." That child's voice becomes the yes that changes everything. But even then, even with a publisher, Bloomsbury prints only 1,000 copies. She agrees, not because she likes it, because she's terrified her ex-husband will find her if her full name appears on the cover. June 26, 1997. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone hits bookstore shelves. And then, silence. Days pass. Weeks. But something is happening. Quietly. Powerfully. Children are reading. And they're not stopping. Word spreads. Not through marketing campaigns or advertising budgets. Through pure, undiluted magic. Kids telling other kids about this incredible story. Within months, the book becomes a phenomenon. By year's end, it wins the Nestlé Smarties Book Prize, gets shortlisted for the Carnegie Medal. The sequels come. Chamber of Secrets. Prisoner of Azkaban. Each one bigger than the last. The films arrive, turning Hogwarts from imagination into reality. The Harry Potter empire expands beyond anything anyone could have predicted. By 2004, J.K. Rowling is a billionaire. From welfare to the world's first billionaire author in less than a decade, the story sounds impossible, like fiction, like magic. But here's what the headlines miss. The scars remain. Even as her bank account swells, even as her books sell 600 million copies worldwide, even as she remarries, this time to Neil Murray, a doctor who loves her and her daughter, the memory of that Edinburgh flat never fades. The fear of her ex-husband tracking her down haunts her for years. She moves houses, installs security, lives with one eye always watching the door, because trauma doesn't vanish with success. The Dementors in her third book, those soul-sucking creatures, she modeled them after her depression. The darkness she survived lives forever in the pages children read worldwide. But here's the revelation that changes everything. J.K. Rowling doesn't credit her success to talent alone, or even to persistence. She credits failure. Failure meant stripping away the inessential, she tells a Harvard graduating class years later. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct all my energy to finishing the only work that mattered to me. Had I really succeeded at anything else, I might never have found the determination to succeed in the one area where I truly belonged. The abusive marriage, the poverty, the depression, the 12 rejections, they weren't obstacles to her success. They were the pathway, because rock bottom eliminated every excuse, every distraction, every escape route except the one that mattered, writing the story only she could tell. The failure didn't break her. It forged her. It revealed a strength she didn't know she possessed, a will made of steel, wrapped in hope, tempered by love for a daughter who needed her to survive. The woman who had nothing became the woman who created everything. Closing. Today, somewhere in the world, a child opens Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the first time, reads about an orphan boy living under the stairs, told he's ordinary, told he's worthless. Until one day, someone sees his magic. That child doesn't know the story behind the story, doesn't know about the freezing Edinburgh flat, the welfare checks, the photocopied manuscript pages smuggled to safety, doesn't know about the woman who wrote these words while fighting to stay alive, to stay sane, to stay present for her daughter. But maybe they feel it. The truth embedded in every sentence. That you are more than your circumstances. That failure is not final. That the darkest hour comes just before you discover what you're truly capable of becoming. J.K. Rowling's story isn't about magic. It's about what happens when you refuse to let the world define your worth. When you believe in something so fiercely that rejection becomes white noise. When you transform rock bottom into solid ground and build a castle where others saw only ruins. So here's the question. What are you holding on to? What dream sits buried beneath your fear, your doubt, your belief that you're not good enough? What would happen if you stopped asking for permission and simply started? The world might say no, 12 times, 100 times. But you only need one yes, and sometimes that yes has to come from you. If this story moved you, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Tell us, what dream are you still holding on to? What would you create if failure wasn't an option? And don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories of extraordinary people who turned their darkest moments into their greatest triumphs. Because the world needs to hear these stories. And maybe, just maybe, you need to hear yours. Remember, the only person who can write your story is you, so pick up the pen and start.